So, that being said, now we're going to something kind of surprising, I guess. Online misinformation and hate speech continue to plague social media. Meta and Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says he's following the footsteps of ex-owner Elon Musk by getting rid of third-party fact-checking on the site. Now, here's what he said yesterday.
We've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. We're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X. We're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters.
They had filters to scan for conservative content and take it down. That's what he meant to say. Yeah, that's what he meant to say. You had a communist filter.
And high severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action.
Oh, boy.
She's shaking.
I'm just curious because human rights activists warn that this is a major step back that'll have misinformation, conspiracy theories, and bigotry running wild on the site. My question is, when did fact-checking become a bad thing?
Since Donald Trump became president.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, the new...
How does it, man, It became a problem when it became biased. Right. It became a problem when you start fact-checking people's opinions.
Right.
That's why it's a problem.
It sounds great. Fact check, spread, stopping the spread of misinformation.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. But there was being disingenuous when he came up with that idea. The only reason why they're fact-checking people on the internet is not because of the spread of misinformation. They're using it to target their political enemies, and they're using it to throttle down people's opinions that you disagree with.
Yep.
That's when it became a problem. We already have laws on the books that hold people accountable for spreading misinformation.
Right.
Rules on Meta, Facebook, they're imperfect. I will say this. I think it's a balance between content moderation, free speech, and fact-checking. And what I think Facebook has gotten wrong for some time is they've had third-party fact-checkers, but then Facebook Meta would ultimately make a decision on can this content be on. Oftentimes, fact-checkers can't, or these staffers at Facebook can have biases. I actually think, listen, X has become a hellhole for a lot of reasons, but I think that community notes actually work. You have to cite your source.
Let me interrupt you. What does free speech have to do with fact-checking?
Because it's imperfect. It's not as simple as the sky is blue, the grass is green. We know the facts on that. Sometimes it comes into opinions or viewpoints. This is still a town square. I tend to be a free speech absolutist as long as it's not harming someone else.
We know the difference between an opinion and a fact. We do it every day.
A lot of this can be viewpoints where somebody could say, well, this is my viewpoint on it, and there were moderating things around language you used around certain issues. But to the point I was saying, community notes actually work. They have to be cited to sources. My issue is the algorithms. These tech companies are run by billionaires. They're completely unaccountable. Congress hasn't regulated tech in over 30 years, and they can push what you're seeing more of. They can hold back what you're not seeing, and that to me is the biggest issue. But we can complain about it all we want. We need to tell Congress that they need to also get involved.
Yeah, they absolutely do. The misinformation, the World Economic Forum listed misinformation and disinformation as the most severe short-term threat globally. So by removing these fact checkers, I understand the concern was, and Joy, this might answer your question, there were some conservative viewpoints that were being taken down. So these fact checking industry started right in 2016 when President Trump was elected the first time. Yeah, it would be something like when there were debates on masks or shutdowns, they were taking these things off of the site, which as someone who could have debated that, these people were saying you're taking our content off of this site. But there's a difference between Alex.
Is that allegedly or is that factual?
Oh, there's
that's their conversation. Yeah, there are reports, there are things they took.
See, she don't think conservatives are being censored. Yeah. Not only are we being censored, you're taking down their accounts.
Yeah, I'm doing honest criticism of somebody, and the video's coming down because they say it's hate speech.
Yeah.
off. But the bigger point here is there's a difference between Alex Jones spewing hate, disgusting, false, and having a difference of opinion. But either way, I'd rather have them get it wrong occasionally with a screen door between free speech and say anything you want. So I'm frustrated that they did this because social media is already on the downgrade, and he pretty much admitted he did this because of President Trump.
You know,
no, he did not admit that because of President Trump, because people have biases and they were targeting people just because of their political beliefs.
It was a political weapon against people's enemies. That's what it's being used for.
And you sound like a communist. You rather err on the side of being wrong.
Even some of the verbiage that Zuckerberg used, violations. How can it be a violation if you're just sharing opinions?
Yeah.
His whole demeanor, his whole tone, and the verbiage he used, violations.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Like Alyssa is my favorite. She's okay. But that right there, what she just said, makes you a communist.
Why? Because you let your political biases dictate how you think.
Nobody should be blocked from saying what they want to say.
Right.
Freedom of speech. Either you believe in it or you don't.
I'm going to just reject the fact that we don't know what a fact is.
Really?
I reject it outright.
No
There
one's
is a difference
suggesting that,
between
though.
opinion and fact. And there is, journalists,
You see Alyssa looking at him?
people that are, work for the New York Times, they know how to fact check.
No, they don't.
Journalism students are taught. You fact check 3 different sources.
Journalists have gotten things wrong, though.
So this
That's
notion,
happened throughout
but
history.
this notion that, the reason that they're doing this is because, they can't fact check it.
But free speech gives you a right to be wrong. I have a right to post something that's inaccurate. I have a right to say the grass is blue.
Facts are different.
That shouldn't be taken down simply because it's fact.
Disinformation is different. And so I think what you're finding is this company is also getting rid of content restrictions on topics like gender identity and immigration. Calling women, by the way, household objects is now permitted on Facebook.
But do you think it shouldn't be as much
Users
household
are now
objects?
allowed to, for example,
just real
refer
quick,
to women
let's talk about
as household objects.
It's an interesting
property.
conversation.
Let's take a break because
I was saying, there's a difference between free speech and hate speech, and we know that. Free speech, I welcome. I think everyone welcomes. It's your constitutional right. When you start delving into hate speech, which is what is happening all over social media, there's a problem with that. When you start delving...
See, I want to say this before, sorry to stop the video, but this is the thing. Because I call a transgender woman a man, people like her, people on the left call that hate speech, and they take my post down.
Even though that's a fact.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's not even an opinion, that's a fact. But then she's talking about, we all know the difference between facts and opinions. You don't.
I could give you several examples why you don't know what a fact is. How many legal notes did y'all have to come on your show and have to give an apology, a legal apology to people? Because you don't know what a fact is.
Clarification.
Yeah.
So you don't get sued.
You're spreading misinformation.
Yeah.
That's why you have to do those legal notes.
Yeah, watch this.
Into misinformation and disinformation, there's a problem with that. Meta's new hate speech guidelines permit users to call people in the LGBTQ plus community mentally ill.
What do you think? If everybody went to that side, right? The human race would die out.
Yeah.
So what do you call that?
Yeah. You can use other words. You don't have to say mentally ill. They have a mental defect.
Hey, y'all, we got some good news for once. Damn good news. Yeah, with Trump back in office and the Fed dropping interest rates, now's the perfect time to consolidate debt and reduce monthly expenses. American Financing is a family-owned mortgage lender with 25 years in business, helping American homeowners pay off their high-interest debt. Thousands have paid off their debt and in some cases even built up savings with American Financing. Yeah, customers are saving over $800 on average every month. That's equal to $10,000 yearly raise. That's all kinds of savings. It's the ideal time to get finances in order and start the new year debt-free. Some customers close in as fast as 10 days, and mortgage consultants are salary-based with no upfront or hidden fees. Call our friends at American Financing at 866-890-4844. Visit AmericanFinancing.net/Hodgetwins to start saving today. American Financing is making being a homeowner great again. Yeah.
I mean, this is a great example of what's wrong with fact checking.
Yeah.
That's the perfect example. we say facts just because it may hurt your feelings. Y'all want these people censored.
And you call it hate speech.
And you call it hate speech.
Yeah.
Not only do you not know what a fact is, you don't know what hate speech is.
That is harmful. That is harmful. And the last thing I'll say is, let's just break it down to bare bones. This is about President-elect Trump going back to the White House. Mark Zuckerberg and Meta dined with Trump at Mar-a-Lago in November. Meta just donated $1 million to support his inauguration. Zuckerberg also elevated Joel Kaplan, the highest-ranking Meta executive closest to the Republican Party, to the company's most senior policy role. And on Monday, Zuckerberg said Dana White, the head of the Ultimate Fighting Championship and an ally of Trump's, would join Meta's board. This is about the fact that our many corporations, and especially these oligarchs that own these social media companies, are bowing down to Trump so that they can make money off of the narrative.
Where was this energy when Biden was running for office and y'all censored that story about Hunter Biden's laptop?
Yeah, y'all said it was Russia disinformation.
Yeah, where's that energy now?
Yeah.
Not because the pendulum is swinging the other way, now you got a problem with it. But it swings in your favor, it's not a problem.
Look, it's a great idea to have conservatives, liberals, progressive, people from all walks of life with different opinions and perspectives to be on the board. You can't have a board at Facebook and they all think the same way. You have this big, huge echo chamber. Yeah. You're taking a positive and you're so pessimistic, you try to make it into a negative. Having Dana White, somebody who thinks a different way, a different perspective, you need people like that on your board. You don't want to have an echo chamber that causes problems. That's why they're doing away with the fact checking.
Okay, if we can all have a bit of a conversation here. So
here we go.
You
see all them seals?
And I actually agreed with Mark Zuckerberg. Of course, there's pressure because Trump's coming into office, but I do think that there's a cultural and societal desire to be able to talk about things openly. And actually, liberals used to be the ones who were super pro-free speech. The famous saying goes, I disagree with what you're saying, but I'll defend to the death your right to say.
Yes,
so
but I will not defend to the death your right to call me.
Here.
Sometimes it happens like this. Be nice. She didn't talk for 20 minutes.
And I always like hearing you say.
Go ahead, but that's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to make the point that hate speech, something that incites violence, is not legally ever protected under the First Amendment. My ability to say a housewife is a household object, I can say that. It can offend you. I don't agree with it, but you absolutely, under the First Amendment, have a right to say it. And the fact that we're policing speech because it makes people uncomfortable or they don't like it or it offends them, I don't think it's how we should engage it.
If somebody decides, as they do often on these social media places, to call me a...
Don't even say the word.
Well, let's be.
I get death threats on social media.
If we're going to have this conversation, then let's have it.
Here we go. Angry black woman here.
There are certain things where we all agree, boy, you shouldn't be saying that. That is not curbing your free speech. It's asking you to, not you, asking one to respect the fact that people don't want to hear that word when it has to do with them or Native Americans or women.
There's also
or
an
any of
element
these
of
things.
Wait a minute, where's that energy when y'all was calling Trump Hitler?
Yeah.
Where y'all was calling him, implying that he's assaulted women.
Yeah.
Where's that energy? Y'all used innuendos, indirect references, hints to imply that Trump is Hitler himself.
You're calling out childish people's behavior online, on Twitter. Yeah, calling out your name is just disrespectful, but where does the censorship stop? Y'all don't know where to draw the line.
Yeah.
Y'all sitting here calling out things. We call out things. I mean, y'all want to be the purveyors of truth, and nobody should be a purveyor of truth. We have the First Amendment, and Alyssa, she's illustrated very well what the First Amendment
All
is.
opinions should be welcome and then debated for everybody to see. But like I said, y'all call this man Hitler.
Yeah. But Whoopi, to what you were saying, That's the beauty of free speech. When people say these things online out in the forum and for everybody to see, you know who the good guys are and you know who are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Why would you want to censor that?
Yeah.
Under the hateful guidelines.
But by the way, there is an element of choice that comes into this. I would never subscribe to somebody who would use that language or who would incite
No, but you're on a site that says now, maybe it's okay to say
it wasn't before.
Well, you guys were focusing on hate speech, but some of the beginning things they did were Facebook removed all content that said COVID was a man-made disease. There was a group of people claiming it was, and they were considered off limits. Now it's debatable, and they released that. So my point is, there's a difference between the obvious awful stuff you're talking about,
those things
but
to be able
it's
to be
shutting
said on
down
social
conversations, which that's the point.
And again, some things are black and white because you don't have all the facts.
Yes, but not everything is black or white. And the things that we know are black and white are the things that we can say, you know what? You don't need to do this because we've decided collectively as a group of human beings that we're going to respect, because they always talk about respect. If you're going to respect people, there are certain things I want you to say if you run the...
Won't you have respect for the 45th and 47th president?
Yeah, you go out of your way not to even call him by his name. And you want to talk about respect? You black...
Say, I'm not going to accept that. Or, for all of the folks who are applauding, you can also not get on Meta.
Well, that's
there you go. Get off the platform.
And by the way, what if it's in a rap
wait a minute,
lyric? What if it's something that's in a comedy sketch? Oftentimes, language is used in comedy that's represented on social media.
No, you don't hear it. You don't hear it very much on social media. You're not allowed to do it in comedy.
But that's not a good thing. I don't think silencing speech.
You can't just go out there and
calling people names.
I'm not saying calling people names. I'm saying some of these words that they're saying are protected.
Can I say something? There was a time when there were cartoons when I was a kid, right? And they would make fun of Italians. What's the matter, you? He's a pizza. Everybody was a pizza maker. And I, as a child, I felt like that was offensive to me.
You probably thought it was funny.
Wait
just
a minute.
Like Tommy
You're offended by an Italian having a restaurant? An Italian restaurant?
Yeah, remember Tommy Jerry when that black woman, Thomas?
Yeah.
All you could see is her black feet?
Yeah.
We actually enjoyed that. Mama loved that.
Yeah.
Thomas? All you see was some big black feet.
Yeah.
There's a big fat black woman in it. I love that part.
Yeah. I mean, pointing out our differences is great.
Yeah, but she's saying as a child that offended her.
Yeah, she's making it all up.
You was probably happy that they was recognizing your culture.
So I understand. I have empathy for people who don't like it.
When
you are making fun of their group in a nasty way.
Right.
Now, the people who
that's
are
hate speech
doing
to
this
them.
are not from minority groups. They're from majority groups. And so
this is not me saying that every person at this table gets...
See, that's the problem. And that's why you have all the SEALs clapping, all the women clapping. Y'all are just too sensitive. Everything bothers you.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You're too sensitive.
You're
too soft.
Either you believe in freedom of speech or you don't.
directed at them every day. No one is.
All right, I guess no one gets to finish a sentence here anymore. Okay.
No, I think the point Alyssa's making here is she is a free speech.
Don't speak for her. She speaks very well for herself.
No, but
Oh, wow.
And I'm not doing
We
that.
all act like we're for free speech when it's the things we like. When somebody wants to defend the free speech of people we disagree with.
That is not true.
It is true.
I don't want you calling me. I don't want people to call
comedy needs to be able to push limits.
Listen, comedy does push limits, but be smarter in your comedy. You don't need to offend me to be funny. I don't need to offend you to be funny. And
Push pause. You ladies, a majority, not the two white women, they pretty much got a rational brain. Alyssa and Sarah.
Yeah.
But the rest of you,
yeah.
Man, you offend people every day, but you don't care about that unless it's your feelings.
Yeah.
Alyssa's trying to point that out to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember Whoopi's husband wore blackface
Yeah.
in front of a crowd making jokes.
Right.
And you were married
Joy
to him at the
Behar,
time.
dressed up like a black woman. She said she went to Hollywood. I think she was trying to
was
emulate
Joy did that?
replicate Diana Ross.
Who, Joy did that?
Joy Behar, yeah.
That was her? Also, Alyssa makes a great point. Why don't y'all just hate speech and rap music about black people shooting each other? How do you talk about their women in black culture?
Yeah.
I don't see y'all having that same energy for that type that for those people. But, why? Because they vote Democrat.
Yeah, you only have the same energy for a Republican.
There are tends to be offensive and push
that's actually not necessarily true. The best comedy doesn't always tend to be offensive. It just doesn't.
Okay, the First Amendment doesn't apply to private companies, which is why I'm frustrated Mark Zuckerberg did this. But there are countries in Europe who have modified the way they're allowed to talk about people. Yes. I actually support.
See, communists. I don't, sir. She has some moments where she's rational, but she's a communist.
I understand where she's coming from, but it doesn't stop there. The person that's doing the person that's censoring the speech, they take it a step further. They don't know when to stop. Okay, you say you're gonna censor speech when they're using words like the B word for women and things like of that nature. But no, y'all take it a step further. Yeah. Y'all don't know where to draw the line. Well, that's why we're in the position we're in. Yeah. Y'all take it. Y'all use y'all's political biases against other people.
She mentioned that in the UK. They're actually going and arresting people, writing them tickets for something they said on Facebook, on social media. She referenced that.
That's crazy.
She's a communist.
Support some eliminations on hate speech. Yeah. Which makes me not an absolutist, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Yeah. There are things that we collectively can say. We respect everybody's right not to be called a name. If you take that away and you allow that, it's a problem.
They didn't allow it before, and they allow it now, and they allow it now.
Well, it's not a good thing.
It never really existed on any platform I've been on.
Donald Trump.
There's never been a social media platform that's existed where you can't call people names. I've been called names on every platform that didn't exist.
But here's the thing: it doesn't make it. But it doesn't make it right.
But let's say facts, not say because Donald Trump got elected, now you can call names on social media. That's just not true.
Yeah. See, that's not true. See what she's saying? They're making like, okay, he's doing all of this because Donald Trump's in office again. No, that's not why they're doing this.
Everything Trump's
he saw there was a problem, and now they're adjusting to the new facts that they have about fact checking.
Yeah, y'all don't see the beauty of freedom of speech. You know who the good guys are, and you know who the bad guys. When people go out of their way to say things like this, you know who they are. Everything's public.
Yeah,
but why would you censor that?
Yeah, but this is the thing. They look like they wanted to kick her off the show.
Yeah,
they were all frustrated with her.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to kick her off the show.
Keep talking like that, Alyssa. You're gonna get kicked off the show.
I'm thinking they have more views because of her.
Well, it's great debate.
Right.
It's a whole lot better than having a bunch of 3-4 women that disagree with each other and they just call Trump names 24/7.
Yeah.
Y'all talking about respect. Y'all call Trump all kinds of names.
Yeah. Absolutely correct. But they only matter when they call them names.